Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling. You like that? Don't stop believing.
It's amazing. I can't think of a
you.
better soundtrack to our lives.
To kick off this epic meme wars, which obviously, I mean, we've got some memes which are probably going to tie into the topic of the show today, which is Trump's mugshot. The fact that he has now been formally surrendered.
Yeah.
The mugshot heard around the internet is now officially out there, and it's something to behold, man. It didn't disappoint. I'll say that much.
Do you have it handy to pull up? I'm sure we can find it quickly. But let's pull it up as we're talking about it. Yeah. Because I mean,
right now.
I think and this is not surprising at all, but in all things Trump, I mean, he had a plan going into it, and he walked into that mugshot with a plan on how he wanted to look, because it's all about the Trump brand. It's all about, portraying this image of toughness and, the guy who was who's a fighter or whatever. So, of course, immediately after this, and Brian just pulled it up. If you're watching here on YouTube or Rumble, you can see it.
It's so good.
it's amazing. And honestly, he could not have paid for a better advertisement for his campaign, I don't think, than this mugshot.
It's better. His mugshot is better than any of the stupid ass trading cards that he put out. It's instantly the best. It's instantly number one. Like, this trumps them all. It's so good. His hair even looks good in it. It's like his hair even looks nice and coiffed. It looks like a campaign poster.
And he has the chin forward, so there's no double chinage or anything. The jawline's looking cut.
Yeah, he's got the down angle, which is smart. He's got his selfie game on point. He's got his eyebrows furrowed.
He probably only got one chance, right? I mean, you don't get like two chances at a mugshot. They don't show you a mugshot and say, "Do you want to do another one?" Right?
You're talking about the master in Master and Apprentice, John. You're talking about a media master here. Of course, he knows how to do this. Well, I'll just share my first meme here. Since we've got Trump's mugshot up, I will now share my first meme because it goes perfectly within it, and that is I think an absolutely appropriate juxtaposition between the two. Let me see. I don't think I can pull up multiple screens at once. Can I?
Multiple screens sharing at the same time?
I wanted to try to share multiple images at once, and I don't think we can do that.
You're gonna break the internet. How can you share multiple screens?
God damn it.
It's not even.
We should look at it. I'm telling you, we should look at an eCam. I think it's a better system for us. Okay, there you go.
There's a couple other ones.
Look, am I far off? And that Donald Trump's mugshot looks exactly like Gary Coleman going, "What you talk about, Willis?" It's the exact same face.
What if Trump showed up to his mugshot in blackface? Would that have been inappropriate?
Media genius. He would have been like, "Another Black American is persecuted, like many other Black Americans, for crimes that are ignored for other people." Too funny, man. What you talk about? Fucking hilarious.
I did see a video on Instagram going around of the Trump caravan on the way to getting that mugshot, going through inner city Atlanta, and the crowds there were loving the Trump. Everybody was cheering him on. So I think this is actually going to help him. Honestly, I think it'll help him with that type of voter.
Dude, I think so too. I think it's going to help him with a lot more than people think. Like I has said this before. I don't understand the strategy for the Democrats other than trying to lock him in as the candidate. They seem, I mean, they're still attacking DeSantis in the dumbest ways. So is Trump. But I mean, everything they've done is turning public opinion more on his side, because many of these things just look ridiculous. The timing of them is obviously very suspect. And especially now, you hear the DA in Georgia, or the Attorney General in Georgia, wants to set the trial date to start a month before the election. At least I think I read that right.
It's supposed to, yeah, it's supposed to be like going
or is
on
it
like
2023? Hold on.
right during the
Let me look.
election. Yeah, like right 2024, like summer 2024, I think is when they're talking about.
Hold on. Georgia DA Trump trial start. Maybe it's a month. October
Brian,
23.
all of Google searches, he says them out loud as he types each word, like he's a 75-year-old boomer. It's
Yeah,
effective
exactly.
though.
Well, I want people to know what's happening here. This is so crazy. Yeah. And the judge approved it. A Georgia judge signed off on the start for October 23rd. It's literally a month. Like, I mean, less than, what is it, 2 weeks before the election? They're going to start this trial. The timing of this is bonkers. It's going to make people vote for Trump. 100%. Anybody that was going to stay home is now going to turn out in droves to vote for him, even if there's a criminal proceeding going on.
So that's not this October. You're sure that's next October?
That's what
a
I was
long time to wait.
Maybe let me see. Let me look it up again. I saw it said 2024. I will look it up one more time. Why don't you look it up? How about that?
Okay.
You look it up.
You know what? I really don't care. The whole thing's going to be a shit show. The next year, we're in for. Yeah, I mean, I can't see how Joe Biden can be on the Democratic ballot. I can't see that happening. The man can hardly walk. If you've seen recent footage from him in Hawaii, the guy is waddling like it's like he's in an old folks' home. Like,
how did you like his stories about how did you like him comparing himself to the poor people of Hawaii and their children that were burned alive hugging dogs?
You mean
his Corvette that almost burned? Almost, remember, didn't actually burn. Almost burned.
You mean this one right here?
Oh, that's the stuff. There you go. Let's hear it. Unmute it. Thank you.
Very difficulties, but we have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home.
Pure fiction.
Years ago, now 15 years ago, I was in Washington doing Meet the Press. It was a sunny Sunday. And lightning struck at home on a little lake.
Goofy animations going on. It's very funny.
And hit a wire and came up underneath our home into the heating duct, the air conditioning duct. Make a long story short, almost lost my wife.
It's false. No way. Not this time.
My 67 Corvette and my cat. I don't want to.
Good job being libertarian, by the way. That's you.
We have a little sense, Jill and I, what it's like to lose a home.
Pure fiction.
Years ago.
That's being libertarian right there, and it's worth watching the video to seeing the animation there, the lightning coming down, striking the home. It's I mean, the guy. Do you think like before? Okay, Joe, you're going to Hawaii. You're going to be talking to people there. There's hundreds, thousands of people maybe that have died. What do you think you're going to talk about, Joe, when you're addressing the people? Oh, I'm going to tell the story of when my home was almost struck by lightning and almost lost my Corvette. Like, do they run this by anybody? Like, this is insane.
That's what I'm thinking. There's no way somebody wrote that out. Like, it had to be like he's like, no, I'm going to wing it. I got this. I'm going to speak from the heart. What could go wrong? Everything. There was a sign I saw in Maui. And I don't think I saved it for the meme board. It was a sign on like a Hawaiian business that said, "Thoughts and prayers for your Corvette, Joe. Maui strong." So the people have not taken it well. And there's a story, and I'm not going to share it on here because it's like something I read about a child in Maui that died, and I'm not going to describe it because it's going to burn a hole in everyone's soul that hears it. And so I'm not.
I think I've heard the same one, but yeah.
It's the one I'm thinking of. It's truly terrible. So I'm not going to share it, but you read these stories and you think about this fucking doddering, imbecilic asshole saying shit like that. And if I had even lost my home, I would be finding out where the nearest grassy knoll in Hawaii was to take him out, and let alone a child. So yeah, it's despicable.
I mean, I don't, part of me thinks like, how can they let this guy run for president again? And then the other part of me thinks, well, John Fetterman was elected to the Senate because people on the left will vote for anybody
Yeah.
who has the blue sticker next to their name. So
By the
maybe
way,
they will
with a
let him
hat
run.
on-
They might let him run.
John, with a hat on, let me pull up Fetterman's new look.
He kind of,
you and Fetterman, you and Fetterman have quite the similar look going on, my friend. Let me just bring it up. You and your mustache. If you put a hat on John Fetterman right now, I think you can pass for him. We'd have to put a pair of glasses on you.
he looks a lot better with a mustache.
Yeah, he does.
A lot better.
He can't look worse. Getting rid of the goatee is a big step forward. The mustache draws your eyes away from his giant, funky Cro-Magnon brow. And also the fact that he's got glasses on hides it, and it kind of obscures his leering sloth from Goonies gaze. So a lot of what's going on there, I think, is strategic to make him look smarter. But then, of course, he's going to start talking, and it's all going to fall apart. Although maybe they have what about this theory? Conspiracy theory time. Conspiracy time. So what if those glasses he wears now are like the Google Glass, and they're projecting on the inside words for him to say so he doesn't sound retarded?
That would be nice if Google Glass actually worked. Like, didn't they roll that all out and it didn't work? Or maybe it's nobody liked it.
Everybody hated
Nobody
it
wanted
so
to
much.
have a bunch of words right on their freaking eyeballs walking around.
That and people hated that you just had people wearing glasses recording everything around them at all times. I think people started getting beat up for wearing them in public. People would just grab them and smash them on the ground.
That's maybe not a libertarian response, or maybe it is a libertarian response.
It's not. Well, is it a violation of? I mean, it's a violation of your privacy, maybe your security, even.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Speaking of mustaches, since we'll stick with that theme for now, here's two gentlemen with a mustache, leaders who have their political opponents arrested. You have Stalin, you have Hitler, and then two without mustaches. You have Mao and Joe Biden on the bottom. The young Joe Biden, who looks nothing like the current day Joe Biden.
Yeah.
But
they should have included Obama in there. I mean, is Edward Snowden and is not Assange a political opponent of Barack Obama, whether they were intended to be or not? I say yes.
Maybe so.
They had to flee the country.
One that 100% should be included is Abraham Lincoln, because he had people arrested who opposed him during his time frame. Yep. And it wasn't like Abraham Lincoln was saying, I want to get rid of slavery. That's not what the opposition was.
No.
It was against the invasion, which at first had nothing to do with slavery.
Yeah, it's all about maintaining central power.
Yep.
All right. So my next one, I'll share this. This is pretty funny. Bidenomics, is what Joe Biden keeps talking about, which of course is pure spun nonsense. And it's got Bidenomics. It's got a nice couple pointing at a bunch of tents under a freeway on-ramp. And it says, newlyweds in San Francisco looking for nice 1-bedroom, 0-bath starter tent. Now, I'm guessing this is taken from the Bee, but I don't know. I'll give Sally Mayweather, Sal the Agorist credit.
Sally Mayweather.
Yeah.
I can't wait for the HGTV tent makeovers where it's okay, we found you a nice 1-bedroom, 0-bathroom tent for just $200,000. Now let's turn this into a fixer-upper.
It'll be like the MTV Cribs, except it's just tents. Actually, now with the actor strike, there's probably a lot of actors that are just living in tents right now, or RVs.
Who's that actor that I hate? Most actors. Oh God, what is his name? They had the strike was first beginning, and they had picket lines, and he showed up to it wearing Mark Ruffalo. He showed up to it wearing. It was going to be
Mark Ruffalo. I was literally going to guess Mark Ruffalo because he's such an
old
obnoxious,
tattered clothes
piece of shit.
to the. He's a piece of shit. Trying to look poor for a protest.
They're probably Balenciaga's pre-torn, child molesting $4,000 jeans and hoodies. That's my guess.
Probably. That's what it's. That's how it's advertised on their website. All right, last one here. We haven't talked about the debate yet, so maybe we can do a quick debate talk after I show this little video here of the fattest man in New Jersey who got the fat reduction surgery and it didn't work. Chris Christy.
He powered through.
Of a guy who sounds like ChatGPT standing up.
Oh, you stole that from a funny meme you read on 4chan. You
This is Crowder, Stephen Crowder chiming in with his crew.
fat son of a.
The last person in one of these debates, Brett, who stood in the middle of the stage and said, "What's a skinny guy with an odd last name doing up here?"
Obama.
Was Barack Obama, and I'm afraid we're dealing with the same type of amateur.
This is their favorite accusation, by the way.
Say the word bully, Chris, you big girl.
I never think that they say he's a tough talker. No, he comes across as incredibly feminine to me.
Yes, he's a whiny.
He's catty.
He was picked on as fat as a kid, and he still has that mentality.
Yeah, he should have.
Yeah, I 100% agree with this. I think Chris Christie just comes across as a whiny little bitch, a whiny little New Jersey bitch who's been fat his whole life, didn't have a lot of friends growing up, and now he made his way up to governor, so he thinks he's a big tough guy. He's not. He's a whiny little bitch.
Yep, I would concur completely. He is, I think I think you nailed it. One of the perfect examples of who ends up getting in positions of political power is the nerds and the desperados who simply want to wield that power to get friends.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, my last one, and then we could talk a little bit. I didn't watch the debate, by the way. I didn't have time. We were doing the
none of it.
boring
You haven't
podcast.
even seen any clips. No clips.
I saw a couple clips, but mostly of Ramaswamy and Nikki Haley, who of course is the biggest piece of shit on stage, arguably. But
you've seen the whole debate. Then, if you've seen those two talk, that was basically all that mattered.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, good. Okay, last one. I love this because, well, number one, it's kind of a hot little Joker cosplayer doing it. But all right, so this is from Jim Handyman on Instagram, friend of the show and a fan. Not sure who created it initially, but it's a picture of a sexy little cosplay girl in the Joker outfit, putting her fingers to her head like a gun. And it says there's a psychological war in which the majority of one side doesn't even know they're at war. Ridicule those who do as a conspiracy theorist while being blindly obedient to the enemy. And I thought, yes, that perfectly encapsulates where we are as a society today with COVID, with the war state, with the culture war, with all these trans issues that people are throwing out. All this shit is perfectly encapsulated with how people throw out conspiracy theory accusations, are willfully blind to what's obvious to the rest of us, and how the power players act, the interests that are at play here, and how blatantly obvious power is being wielded, and yet they want to tell you that you're crazy.
And there's even the literal war that's happening between Ukraine and Russia, which they are fully in favor of funding, which is leading to the deaths of many, many, many young Ukrainian men and some women and some children. So yeah, and they think they're doing God's work. They think they're just supporting the winning side and the good guys, and nothing could go wrong. But yeah, that's a good meme there.
It is. So yeah, so you watched the debate. As I said, I watched the highlights for what it's worth. But
yeah, I mean, Vivek, or not Vivek. Yeah, how do you say his name? It's he said it's
Vivek.
Yeah, Vivek like
Trebek.
cake. Yeah, that's what he says. Yeah, Vivek.
I'll take the penis mightier, Trebek. It's like that. I'll take the penis mightier, Vivek.
So he had most of the big moments, and mostly everyone was attacking him because he was attacking everyone on the stage. He called everyone else bought and paid for, which they are. Not to say that he might not be too. I don't know enough about his background, but for sure, everyone else on the stage is bought and paid for. And he called out the climate change agenda as being a hoax, the only one to do that. And there were some people on Twitter who said that, well, 5 months ago, he said this and that about the climate is changing. And yeah, he said the climate is changing. He's calling out the freaking agenda as being a hoax. So I think, and I didn't see it like from start to finish. I mostly saw the first half hour, then a bunch of clips. But from what I saw, it looked like he definitely won. It looked like Pence embarrassed himself. It looked like DeSantis just kind of
He looked
was
like
happy
a
to not. Yeah, just happy to not be that he wasn't the one being attacked, I think.
Yeah, which he shouldn't
And-
be, because it means that he's not a threat anymore.
Yeah.
And from the clips I saw of DeSantis, he just seemed weak, man. Like there was one clip of who would, about Ukraine, and Vivek, like who would stop the Ukraine or who'd rein it in. Vivek's like, me, fuck it, no more funding whatsoever. And DeSantis is like nerdily rated, like tepid, wuss ass actions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And DeSantis doesn't have like a Ukraine policy. Like he's been like, I want to stop the funding. Maybe I don't know. Like
that's wishy-washy.
He's backed by neocons. I like Ron DeSantis. I like how
Israel, thumper humper, just like Nikki Haley is. Didn't Nikki Haley say like we need Israel? It's like fuck no, we don't need Israel. Get out of here.
I did like how Vivek responded to Nikki Haley at one point, like, "Oh, yo, so you're aiming for a job at Halliburton, are you?"
Yeah, Raytheon and
Raytheon or Halliburton. Yeah.
Well, I had tweeted out.
He's so quick with that, and he is kind of a dickhead. So he's a dickhead. But
that's why he's got that Trump energy, though. Yeah. I'm telling you, he's going to be Trump's VP. It lines up perfectly. Trump would be smart to take him. He's not a threat to Trump this cycle. It would set the GOP up to have somebody to run after the next 4 years that's young and dynamic and can get people behind him. It's the smart move. But
let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Brian, since you are the LP communications director, but not speaking in that capacity, just speaking as Brian on the street, or Brian of Lions of Liberty, what about Vivek as the LP candidate? Is that a possibility?
At this point, I don't think so. It's oddly enough, Angela had discussed this casually, like, okay, what happens if somebody comes over, if an RFK, who's not, by the way, RFK or a Vivek comes over. Vivek, I could see a possibility, but by the time he would say, I'm going to run for Libertarian, we're probably already going to have selected our candidate. Like there's no reason for him to jump out of the race and stop trying to be president or get VP and switch to the LP. At this point, all of the incentives are for him to stay where he's at. And in truth, as I tweeted this out and we were talking about, I think the LP probably would prefer, if he has a legit shot at being VP, I would actually prefer him to be VP, because if he's open to libertarian concepts, he came to PorkFest, he calls himself libertarian. He's not, let's be definitive, he's not a libertarian. He has many libertarian tendencies and leanings, which are great, but he's not a dyed-in-the-wool libertarian. But he's a guy we can work with. He's a guy that's open and thinks like we do in a lot of ways. That's far more important than him running some campaign that really has no chance of success, and having somebody in a seat of power that we can actually work with and leverage with, and that the LP may actually have. Think about that. The LP may be having somebody in the fucking White House who we can actually talk to for once.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So let's all stop, raining hellfire on Vivek for any misstep and think about the fucking long game here.
Yeah, that's what pisses me off about, these libertarians who are like, well, every Republican on that stage is a statist and they're a piece of crap and they're not libertarians. Most of them, yes. But I mean, you got to take like someone like Vivek or someone like DeSantis to a lesser degree. DeSantis, who was great on COVID. Vivek, who is great, he's against the Ukraine war, decent on COVID.
The Mexican the drone bombing the Mexican cartels is a major problem. We all agree.
Not so good on that, but very, very good about tearing down the administrative state and all of the all of the agencies,
regulatory agencies, and the deep state agencies. Yep.
You got to be able to separate, the differences between those people. If you can't do that, you're a lunatic. Like if you're putting all those people in the same boat, you're a crazy person.
Yeah, exactly, dude. And that's what, like so much of the pushback, because I tweeted out something about Vivek, being standing apart because of the Ukraine and other reasons. And people were pushing back, he said, on different aspects of him personally. And it's like, you're nitpicking somebody that is so far and away better than anybody else up there. For what? Why? To make yourself, to jerk off? That's all you're doing at that. You're just masturbating.
Yeah. It's the same thing with RFK that they do with RFK.
Yeah.
Well, he said years ago this thing about the Koch brothers that about climate change. Well, a lot of shit has happened
Yeah,
between
it's
now and
changed his
then.
mind.
Yeah, the guy has had a little bit of an awakening. Let's listen to what he's saying right now. Listen to what he's saying today. Let's judge that for today. People do change. Things do happen. There are crazy government lockdown pandemics that change people's worldview, but
hopefully
anyway.
not any new ones. Hopefully not any new fucking masks. But I honestly, I believe that we're at the point now, the resolve for people to say, and even in liberal sectors, to say, fuck off. We're not doing mask mandates. We're not doing it for kids. We're not doing it for vaccines. I think that sentiment is in 80% of the population by now. I don't think we're going to have another lockdown. And if they do try it, I think you're going to see, if not violent reactions, you're going to see mass protests and people just simply not complying. I know I'm not, as I said before, I'm not complying. I don't give a shit. I don't care if I'm supposed to wear a mask to school. I'm not doing it. I'm not going to wear a mask in a single fucking business. I don't give a shit if it's a private or public business. I'm just never doing it. I'm not doing it again. And I think most people are in that camp. And it's just up to people, if they try to do it, to be strong, stick to your convictions, and do not wear the mask, because other people will take strength from you going out there and showing them that this is nonsense.
Well, I'm not as optimistic as you. I think if it did happen, it would be hyper division between Republicans and Democrats, highly politicized, like masking was in the first place, but even more so. And I think you would see, like, if some company, like say Home Depot, comes out, just to make something up, says we're going to require masking, I think you would see Republicans be like, hell no, just going without masking. And you would see Democrats come in and be protesting in front wearing their masks.
Oddly enough, Home Depot was the one place I could go without a mask. Even during the height of it, it was like contractors, people, like, I walked in with the mask on one time and I was like, fuck this. And everybody, I look around, there's like half the people masked, half not masked, probably the Democrats, but like all these people, like, whatever, man, fuck this shit. We're building
ceiling's
crap.
so high in there. I mean,
exactly.
Come on, basically,
it's like, the doors are open. Yeah, everybody just walked in without masks. I know you give a shit.
I don't know, but what Scott Adams says, and I kind of agree with him to a certain extent, like, if they do bring back, like if they try to bring back like actual lockdowns and mandatory masking on airlines, if they bring it back on airlines, don't fly. Cancel your flights. Don't fly.
Yep.
I mean,
I'm not doing that. Yeah.
Fuck them. I mean, yeah, they can just not make any money.
That's hellish.
If one company or a bunch of companies start implementing it, don't shop there. Don't go there. Protest them. No money, and just give them the Bud Light treatment. I think that's the response that you have to do.
Yeah. That is, I think, now people knowing the power of that to target companies. Now, the companies will say, well, it's because the state's demanding it. But as you said, if they do it proactively, then Bud Light the shit out of them. How amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to wrap this show up, but the Bud Light thing it's amazing. It just keeps going. I still can't believe their CEO has been fired, but they're not coming back for a generation.
Well, they might have to sell back. The only way out they have, I think, is to sell back to the original family. And then they could be just a fresh start.
Yeah, I think that would be the smartest thing they could do. I don't know if they'll do it. But anyway, all right, good memeing, man. Good memeing today.
Good memeing. Subscribe. YouTube channel, subscribe. Follow us on Rumble. We're building that network up there, so jump on over there.
Yeah, we had massive views on the last one, by the way. Hurricane Hillary was our biggest show on Rumble.
Nice.
Yeah, really blew up. Also, guys, reminder, in 2 weeks, on September 9th, Robbie the Fire Bernstein and I are doing a comedy show. Robbie the Fire Bernstein and I are doing a comedy show out here in Los Angeles at my house, the Porch Tour. So make sure to swing on out for that. I will pop the link in the show notes. And it's a good old time. Drink in the backyard, listen to Robbie and I do some comedy and a live podcast. It's a great time. And then we'll go to the bar after and drink some more. So that's it. Later.
See you.